Amsterdam might be the weirdest city that I've ever been to. Within 5 minutes of arriving, I thought that my camera was not working properly. All the buildings looked crooked. And then I realized that it's actually not my cameras. The buildings are actually crooked. And this was just the beginning of the weird things that I saw in Amsterdam. So in today's video, I am going to be talking about the 10 weirdest things that I've seen in the city of Amsterdam. So let's get started with today's video. So let's start with the first weird thing about Amsterdam. The leaning crooked houses. Some of the houses look like they are leaning sideways, some of them seem like they are leaning forwards, and some of the houses seem to be doing both inexplicably at the same time. Now these buildings are basically hundreds of years old and they were apparently built on these wooden foundations, and these wooden foundations over the years have started to shift a bit and get sunken, as a result of which Amsterdam has got this really weird skyline, and instead of ruining the city, it has actually added more to the character of the city. The leaning houses are just the beginning. Bikes rule this city. I've visited cities with a lot of cyclists before, but Amsterdam is in a whole league of itself. Amsterdam is a city that belongs to bicycles. They are literally everywhere. On the road, along the canals, parked everywhere. And if you are standing in a bicycle lane, trust me, you will find out very soon that you're in the bicycle lane. One thing you learn really quickly in the city is to look both ways before you attempt to cross any road. I've never seen anything quite like it. My husband and I prefer to book Airbnbs wherever we go, but our Airbnb in Amsterdam quickly made me question this decision. We had our apartment on the 4th floor of the building, and the staircases scared the hell out of me. While both of us are fairly fit, the staircases definitely made us question our decision because they are incredibly narrow, very steep, and they make carrying your luggage up seem like an extreme sport. Apparently this was a practical solution when these buildings were constructed centuries ago. Space was limited at that time, so the staircases became narrower and narrower. I felt like I was doing a leg day at the gym every time I was going up or down these staircases, but honestly it added to the unique charm of the city. Of course, our struggle with the suitcases made me question how did people actually get all the furniture within these buildings to begin with. I was so flummoxed that I actually went to Google and asked this question, and Google told me to look very closely at the rooftop of these buildings, and that is when I noticed something which I initially thought was decorative. It turned out to have a practical use. There are hooks on the top of all of these old buildings, and these hooks are actually made to lift up all the furniture because no one can carry the furniture up the stairs in these buildings. The hook basically acts as a pulley system, and that is how the furniture actually arrives inside a building. Imagine buying a new sofa and watching it float in the air before it enters your second floor apartment. How insanely cool is that? It is one of those things that sounds extremely ridiculous when you think about it, but also so insanely cool. Once you know about these hooks, you start noticing them everywhere. Another thing about Amsterdam is that you might notice that you don't see a lot of curtains when you walk around the city. Either the locals do not have any curtains or they keep the curtains open most of the time. Coming from a place where people value a lot of privacy, I found this to be quite strange. And I found out 6 explanations about why this could probably be the norm here. Explanation number 1 was that during the Second World War, when the Netherlands was occupied by Germany, the Germans had a lot of blackout rules in place. There were a lot of punishments if there was light which was seen peeping out of the houses. So a lot of people invested in these blackout curtains, and they even had to paint their homes black. When the war was over, it is possible that the people did not want to use curtains anymore because they were very tired with it. Another possible explanation is the principle of Calvinism, which says that if you are an honest, hardworking individual, you don't need to hide anything. So why should you use curtains to block out whatever you are doing inside the privacy of your home if you have nothing to hide? Another more practical explanation made a lot more sense to me is that Amsterdam, and all of the Netherlands for that matter, has a lot of gloomy weather, and there is a lack of sun and sunlight over here. It does make sense that you keep your curtains open to allow the maximum amount of light to enter your home. The 4th and 5th explanations that I found is that it could probably be a simplistic way of living and also allow you to be in connection with the outdoors. However, some historians do feel that there is a plain and simple explanation for this culture, and that is because the Dutch people like to show off. Dutch people, especially the rich Dutch people, were proud of their home and they wanted to show off their furniture, art, and their decoration. I personally do not know which of these reasons is the actual reason. Which of these reasons do you think is the reason? One of the most surprising things about Amsterdam is its red light district. This red light district is right in the middle of the city. If you go to the red light district during daytime, it looks like any tourist center. You'll see a lot of tourists wandering around. There are canals everywhere, old historic building, but if you plan to visit during the night, the atmosphere completely changes. Whether you find it fascinating, unusual, or controversial, it is definitely one of those places that reminds you that Amsterdam does things differently. Before visiting Amsterdam, I thought these canals were just a tourist destination, but with more than 100-kilometer stretch of these canals, which are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and about 2,500 houseboats where people live permanently, it is a part of the local culture. You will see a lot of locals just having breakfast, chilling with their friends, maybe even feeding the ducks and enjoying the sunshine. What feels like a postcard moment for most tourists is actually a way of life here, and honestly, I'm a bit jealous. The houses here are thin. There's no other word for it. They are slender. They look so thin that it feels impossible that someone could be actually living in these houses. One of the reasons why these houses were probably built in this manner is in the 1700s, the property tax was related to the width of the building and not to the actual height of the building. The narrower the houses, less was the property tax that had to be paid. Another reason is that there is a limited amount of space in front of the canal. The narrowness of the building allowed for more number of buildings to be built with an entrance on the canal, and this was quite important for trade and travel in those days, which happened through ships which sailed through the canal. And the result is one of the most unique skylines that you will ever see. Coffee shop here is not just a coffee shop. A morning coffee is a must for most of us. We all need our caffeine fix. If you go around searching for a cappuccino or a mocha at a coffee shop, you will not be pleasantly surprised. A coffee shop definitely means something different here in Amsterdam. While it might be obvious to a seasoned traveler, it is definitely going to be confusing for a first-time visitor. The city smells like waffles one minute and it smells like the green herb the next. And this is the ultimate smell test of Amsterdam. It is a strange mix of licensed coffee shop and the gooey goodness of a stroopwafel. So these coffee shops are licensed shops which allow for the sale of marijuana in Amsterdam. Amsterdam has decriminalized the use of marijuana if it has been bought in these coffee shops, and this has resulted in one of the most unique smells within the city. While the Netherlands has not legalized the use of marijuana, it has adopted a unique tolerance policy which allows for the purchase of cannabis through these coffee shops legally. What do you think of this list of strange things that makes Amsterdam so unique? If you know of any more things which we could add to this list, let me know in the comment section below. And if you like watching such videos, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I will be sharing more such videos about my first time adventures across Europe. I hope to see you all again very soon in the next video. Bye bye.